Not that easy. It takes two to tango. And we know Danny Ainge is not the best dance partner when it comes to these situations. He's got two left feet, meaning he's not going to just deal just to make a deal. He will sit and sit and sit and sit and sit and hold on to Lauri Markkanen at all costs. However, I don't think it's the worst situation in the world for the Golden State Warriors. I really don't.
Please explain.
I will explain. Hypothetically, if they don't get the Markkanen deal done, the Warriors, by getting under their first and second apron.
Please explain.
And getting out of that luxury tax. Right on, Roxy. Getting out of that luxury tax. And getting under that first and second apron. Cool, the finances are in order. You're not going to be in a repeater tax. You're going to be able to keep your picks. But also, you have signed so many guys. Obviously, the 6-team trade, the first ever 6-team trade in NBA history, where you get the Warriors trading Klay Thompson to Dallas in a 2025 second-round pick. Minnesota brings over Kyle Anderson. You get Buddy Hield from Philadelphia. They're going to sign Anthony Melton on the side here. The Warriors now have financial flexibility and assets to put together trades. You have stackable contracts, whether it's Kyle Anderson, whether it's DeAnthony Melton, whether it's Buddy Hield, whether it's GP2, whether it's Kevon Looney. You have tradable. You have stackable contracts to where you could trade some of these guys to get a star down the line. So say if the Warriors hypothetically are kind of like the Dallas. And Dallas is different because they have Luka Doncic. But think about where Dallas is at the trade deadline. 8th place, figuring out who they are. They swung a nice little deal for P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford, and they rode that to the NBA Finals. Who's to say the Warriors can't do the same thing where they're hovering around 7th or 8th? And they have these contracts, and another star becomes available at the deadline, they will still be in a position to strike. So at least now with the books, having their books in order, and the contracts they sign these players to, they have a lot of tradable assets here into the future, especially over the next 6 months. So it's not the worst thing in the world if they don't trade for Lauri Markkanen.
I agree with you. A lot of interesting stuff that you said there that I agree with. The one thing that I keep coming back to is, how teams put themselves together. I think that we think it's done, Levy. It's all by himself. I don't know. Have you been watching? It just got released this week. Hard Knocks, the off-season with the New York Giants.
I love it.
I actually thought it was better than the normal Hard Knocks.
Oh, I love it.
So you watched it?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so they were talking about Saquon Barkley and the finances that it would cost to franchise tag him, to extend him, how they could spread the money around. And I just think that more and more and more, I'm fascinated by how we build these teams under the cap and the different rules that each league has. And so, for example, we've seen Moneyball, and we all know that in Moneyball, how do you replace Jason Giambi? And they start reading off the names, and then the guy says, well, in the aggregate. And I don't necessarily love that, but there's a financial component that is real, that when you're constructing these things, you do have to project. The Warriors lost 490 field goals. That's what Klay Thompson put last year.
Yep.
They lost 268 threes. They lost 1,375 total points. Now, there's other contributions. There's the space that he provides for others to shoot, which is almost unquantifiable. Yep. There's rebounds, assists, steals, not necessarily things that he hung his hat on, but he did do a lot of. Now, I did the math, Bonta.
Hey, the TJD Klay Thompson report was very underrated last season.
It was excellent.
The two-man game.
So I did the math, okay? And if you just go with Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, Lindy Waters, and Kyle Anderson, the guys that they've brought in, all right? If you do the math here, they've added more field goals, 500, and this is last year's numbers. I don't know how much they're going to play. 529 field goals to Klay's 490. Now, they're down a little, 207 in terms of the amount of three-pointers that they hit to the 268 that Klay hit.
Now, DeAnthony Melton did only play, 38 games?
Yes. So, but then this is where they're making a big stride. Kyle Anderson alone, just Kyle Anderson, more rebounds and almost twice as many assists. 273 rebounds to Klay's 254 and 331 assists to Klay's only 176. He also had 71 steals compared to the 50 that Klay Thompson had. In the aggregate, you're about points per, the total points per season. But you're also not accounting for uptick for, let's say, Moody, Podziemski, Kuminga, And let's just say Andrew Wiggins comes back, if he does, and plays better than he did last year. So I don't love doing the aggregate, but if you're doing the aggregate, okay, if we're going to do that exercise, of the guys that they've added, plus projections of guys playing better next year with an increased role, I mean, they have added enough to offset Klay Thompson's appearance in the box score. That's all, the box score.
You can't also forget about Chris Paul as well.
I didn't even add him. That's a good point.
Chris Paul is part of this equation as well. You can't forget about Chris Paul. And look, these signings, these guys are not always going to play. Like, everybody's going crazy over Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield. There's going to be games Buddy Hield plays 10 minutes. There's going to be games Buddy Hield plays 25. There's going to be games he plays 15. There's going to be games he plays 25.
How many total minutes last year for Buddy Hield?
Did not check.
I did.
Did not check.
Yeah.
He didn't play much.
800 minutes.
Yeah, he didn't play much. We know that. He didn't play much.
For reference, Klay had like 2,400 minutes.
Yeah, no, he didn't play much.
And that doesn't include playoffs.
Right. He didn't play much. Buddy Hield didn't play much. And my Sacramento guys, Damian Barleague and Kenny Caraway and all these guys, the Buddy Hield hype, just temper the expectations. He's not a splash brother. He's not a splash buddy. I still have questions about whether or not he could play Steve Kerr's brand of basketball, motion offense. Now, I see a couple highlights there when he's playing overseas. He's playing for Team Bahamas, and they're running the Spain pick and roll, or they're running some of the plays that the Warriors are running.
Can I ask a question? What makes the Spain pick and roll so unique?
Dude,
Bahamas almost qualified, too. If they almost qualified. Spain, they would have.
I saw something on the internet yesterday that said, never underestimate a C-plus NBA player playing for his country, and then it was the Christian Arroyo.
Right.
Or what was the guy from Puerto Rico that beat the USA team?
Oh, was it Christian? No, was it Christian Arroyo?
Something Arroyo.
Got to be.
It's not Christian. Christian Arroyo
is a baseball player. I know who you talk about, though.
He is the bald-headed guy.
Right.
Anyway, it was just basically saying that, like, when you're a C-minus, D-plus type of a player in the NBA, you play for your country, and all of a sudden you become an A-minus player.
Right, yeah. And it's like, come on, let's chill off.
Carlos Arroyo.
Carlos Arroyo. There you go. Carlos Arroyo. Buddy Hield. So, Buddy Hield, it's a fight. He's a three-point shooter, and listen.
Did you know that he had 102 rebounds last year?
No.
That surprised me. He rebounds better than I thought.
Listen, man. I need to see him. I can't wait to see him in training camp because I can't unsee some of the things I saw when he was a member of the Sacramento Kings. The guy didn't move. The guy didn't play any defense. The guy didn't switch. But maybe coming into this environment will help Buddy Hield. He did have some good numbers in Indiana.
The tolerance level for him falling asleep off ball will be close to zero.
Oh, my gosh.
So he needs to, let's just call it what it is. He's a specialist. To me, he's a guy that, like, you break out, you play limited minutes.
Right.
He's going to be a sharpshooter. Like, I'm not expecting a lot from him. Now, the Kyle Anderson, I'm just looking at Kyle Anderson as an acquisition. I don't think we've had an opportunity to talk about it. In terms of rebounds and assists and steals, he fits defensively, ball movement, to be able to be versatile. I don't know, man. I actually really like the Kyle Anderson acquisition. Just from what the Warriors like to do and what they want to do on both ends of the floor, I think that was a shrewd, smart pickup that he's going to be a fan favorite.
It's not bad. He may get some spot starts. We'll see. He'll cater to that second unit and get that second unit rolling. And he's a specialist. He's long and lanky, but he could get into the pass lanes and get his hands on some deflections there. That's what you need, too. This team, deflections on defense is underrated to me. Because when you get deflections, and we saw the Warriors get a lot of their passes deflected into half-court offense, which really stymied them, it really disrupts your offense. Really, you only got 24 seconds within the shot clock. This ain't college basketball. You got 24 seconds to work with. Kyle Anderson, those little deflections you get on a possession here and there really disrupts the offense, so I'm looking forward to that. But my favorite signing, I don't know why, it's D'Anthony Melton. It is D'Anthony Melton. He's only 26 years old. Or excuse me, he's 20. Yeah, he just turned 26 May 28th, the young man out of USC. And I remember that series against the Golden State Warriors, where I thought, damn, they're not playing him enough. He gave Steph Curry a little bit of a struggle. He gave Jordan Poole a little bit of a struggle in that series. He's physical. He's got a good wingspan. He's got some sneaky athleticism. We get up and dunk on your head here. And as a three-point shooter,